In our earlier lectures, we have seen what are linear inequations, and also we have learned how to find the graphical solution, that is feasible solution of linear inequalities. Now here we are going to learn how to apply this concept in real life situations. Consider the following real life situations here. Say, for example, you have to complete your maths journal in 15 days so that you get proper marks. So completing the journal in 15 days. Or another situation, maybe a salesperson has to meet his monthly target. Or on the other hand, one more example let me give you. A diet has to be planned for a sick person on a limited budget actually. So at minimum cost. So these are examples of real life situations which anybody might face. Now, what is the objective in each of these cases? So let us write down the objective in each of these cases that is there. So here the objective. In the first case, it is maximum marks are to be obtained. See, completing the maths journal in 15 days to obtain maximum marks. So maximum marks are to be obtained. The objective is maximum marks. In the second case, where a salesperson has to meet his monthly target, maximum sales in a month is the objective. And in the third case, where a diet has to be planned, the diet has to be within the budget. So minimizing the cost is the main objective. So minimization of cost. So that we get a diet within the budget. So these are called as objectives of these problems which we might face. So in this case, such problems which we try to get maximum benefits or at minimum cost are what are called as optimization problems. So such problems are what are called as optimization problems. So in these optimization problems, what do? We either find maximum profit, or we find other maximum benefit, or we minimize the cost. So many other such examples might be there. Now in the same three problems, let us find the limiting factors which might be there for the problem. There might be some scarcity of some resources in each of these problems. Let us try and find that particular limiting factor as it is called as. So in the first case, let us see what is the limiting factor. So in the first case, the limiting factor is a time limit because maths journal has to be completed in 15 days. So time is the limiting factor. So time we have around 15 days. In the second case, where the salesperson has to meet his target, again the time is a limiting factor because the target has to be completed within the month. So again, time is the limiting factor over here. And in the third case, money or the amount to be spent is the limiting factor. So here it is the amount to be spent. So as we see in each case, The given objective has to be fulfilled, whether it is maximum marks, maximum sales, or minimum cost. The objective has to be fulfilled taking into consideration the limiting factor. Within the limiting factor, within the particular constraint, or within the scarcity of, within whatever available resources which are there. So such limiting factors are also known as constraints. So the other word for a limiting factor is a constraint. So in this way, the aim of optimization problems is to find the best possible solution given the constraints. So optimum actually means best possible situation. Optimum situation means best possible situation. So in optimization problems, what we do is that we try to find the best possible solution given the limiting factors or given the constraints. I hope now you are understanding what is the meaning of an optimization problem. And how do we use our mathematical inequalities for solving these optimization problems? So one such technique, which is called as an optimization technique, is called as linear programming. Now the word programming means planning. Here we decide the best plan of action for the optimum use of resources. So we plan for the optimum use of resources. And also, by planning properly for the optimum use of resources, we obtain the best desired objective. So we obtain the desired objective in this case. Now our objective may be either maximization of cost or maximization of profit or minimization of cost or whatever. So it may be either maximization of profit, maximization of the cost, maximization of time, etc. Or it may be minimization of cost, forming a problem within the budget, etc. So that may be our objective. Also, resources may be limited, and so these limitations on the resources, are known as, in this case, they are known as constraints. So these constraints, now in mathematics, what we do is that in this lesson, in this chapter, what we are going to do is that we are going to convert these constraints into linear inequalities. Linear inequalities. And then using these linear inequalities in the graph, we are going to obtain at the feasible solution. Thus, we are going to optimize our problem. So that is what we are going to do. And since we are using linear inequalities, whereby the variables will have degree 1. At the most, if the variables are x, y, etc., we will never have x square, x cube, y square, y cube. We will only have x or y. And therefore, the name of the method is linear programming. So we are going to deal with problems which are actually known as linear programming problems, or in short, they are called as LPP. Now, the method which we are going to use for solving LPPs is the graphical method. That is what we have been learning so far. We have learned so far. So we are going to use the graphical method. And in this case also, the particular name of the graphical method which we are going to use is known as the corner point method. Corner point method. So I'll be showing you the method. I'll be explaining about the method when we start to solve problems. I feel that in that way you will be able to better understand the method that is it. So we will start the exercise now, and as we do the exercise, I'll be explaining to you the method also. Initially we'll go very slowly, later on we can pick up speed in the method. Exercise 7.3 involves word problems. Now those word problems were really good. They would have made you understand the concept of linear programming in a very good manner. But then sadly, the board has deleted those problems for this year, at least from the board exam. And that is why we are not going to solve those problems here. We start with exercise 7.4, which is there for you. The question is, solve the following LPP by the graphical method. The first question here, maximize z is equal to 11x plus 8y. Now this is known as the objective function. Just for your knowledge, I'm telling you, this is known as the objective function. So this is our aim, objective that is, to maximize this particular equation. Subject to x less than or equal to 4, y less than or equal to 6, x plus y less than or equal to 6. Now these are known as constraints. These are the limitations. So we have to use these limitations and find at a proper solution for this particular function. And what about these two? Do you remember x and y greater than or equal to 0 means a special constraint. It means non-negativity constraints. That means our graph is limited to the first quadrant. So as usual, as we have been doing in the previous exercises, we are going to convert these constraints, that is these inequations, into equations and then plot a graph from them. So our first equation is going to be x is equal to 4. So when we write x is equal to 4, the x coordinate is always going to be 4 and the y coordinate is 0. So this is going to be a line which is parallel to the y axis. So as a result, we do not have any other point, we do not need any other point on this particular line. So our point here is 4, 0 on this particular line that is here. The sign given is less than or equal to, and therefore we know that the region is the origin side. The second one, likewise, it is y is equal to 6. So when x is 0, y is 6. And so just one point on the line is required because the line is parallel to x-axis. The sign is again less than or equal to, that means the region is the origin side. Then the third is a line which has the equation x plus y is equal to 6. So when y is 0, x is 6. So 6, 0 is a point on the line. We need one more point which is obtained by putting x as 0. So we get y as 6. So 0, 6 is another point on the line. In this case, again the sign is less than or equal to, and therefore our region is the origin side. So 1/3 of the sum is done. Now the next part is drawing the graph, plotting the graph, that is it. Now for plotting the graph, the points which are required are over here. Again, you can plot it on normal paper. You don't need a graph paper for plotting such sums. And only my advice would be that plot it in a proper manner. With your scale, take 1 centimeter as 1 unit in each case. It is easier that way. So take 1 centimeter as 1 unit with the help of the scale in this case. And this has to be done on both the axes. So our scale is 1 centimeter is equal to 1 unit on both axes. Then the first point over here is 4, 0 on the x-axis, that means the point is over here, and therefore our line would come out this way, passing through 4, 0 on the x-axis. So this is the required line. The equation of this line, x is equal to 4. Then the second line is y is equal to 6. So as a result, y is equal to 6 lies over here. at 0, 6. This is our point on the line, and therefore our line is this way, which is parallel to the x-axis. For the third line, the points given over here are 6, 0 and 0, 6. So 6, 0 in this case here, and 0, 6 would come again here. And then the equation is x plus y is equal to 6. This way. Now to find our region. If you remember, in each case, the solution set is the origin side of the line. We are considering the origin side of the line of each line that is there. So for x is equal to 4, the origin side is this side. For y is equal to 6, again the origin side is over here. And for the third line, x plus y is equal to 6, the origin side is over here. So the feasible region we have to shade is this particular region, which I'll be shading over here like this. So this is the feasible region. Now this much we are familiar with. We have been doing this in the previous exercises. Now next step, we are going to name this region as something. So let us name this region as O. O is already the origin. OA, this corner points are OA, B, C. So OA, B, C, O is the feasible region. So let us name it over here. OABCO, which has been shaded in this case, is the feasible region. So as you can see, it has come as a polygon. Okay, and this polygon has these vertices. OABC are the vertices of the polygon that is here. Now these vertices are known as the corner points of this region. Okay, so that is why the method is called as corner point method. So the vertices of the feasible region. Are in this case O having the coordinates 0, 0, A having the coordinates, pay attention over here, A has the coordinates. Now in this case, A is lying on the y-axis. Okay, and so A has the coordinates over here 0, 6. Remember, x coordinate is written first always, so 0, 6. B is something which we don't know. B we have to find out. C, which has the coordinates 4, 0. C is lying on the x-axis as you can see. So C has the coordinate 4, 0. Now how to find B? For finding B, we notice that B is the point of intersection of these two lines. B is the point of intersection of x plus y is equal to 6 and x is equal to 4. Sorry, y is equal to 6. And therefore, we use this to find the coordinates of B. So let us write this fact over here. So B is the point of intersection of x plus y is equal to 6. This particular line x plus y is equal to 6 and this line which has the equation x is equal to 4. Yeah, x is equal to 4. Not y is equal to 6 as I stated earlier. It is x is equal to 4. This way. Now what we do is that we put x is equal to 4 in this particular equation. So substituting x is equal to 4 in x plus y is equal to 6 we are going to get 4 plus y is equal to 6. We get 4 plus y is equal to 6, and therefore y becomes 2. 6 minus 4, it becomes 2. And therefore the coordinates of B are obtained by this way. B is written as, the x coordinate of B is 4 because x is equal to 4, and the y coordinate of B we got it as 2. So 4 and 2 are the coordinates of B. Thus we have got the coordinates of all the corner points of the feasible region. Now what we do is that, see, the objective function is, in this case according to the question, the objective function is z is equal to 11x plus 8y. This is our objective function. And therefore, we put x and y as each of the corner points which are there. See, starting from O, we put x and y as each of these corner points and find out the values of z at each of these corner points which is there. So over here, we write it simply as z. Therefore, ZO, that is at O the coordinates are 0, 0 for xy. So ZO becomes 11 into 0 plus 8 into 0, which obviously comes out as 0. Similarly, the next point is ZA. Now A has the coordinates, as you can see, A has the coordinates 0, 6. So ZA becomes 11 into 0 plus 8 into 6. I do hope you realize what I'm doing over here. So 6 8s are 48 comes. So the value of Z at A is 48. The next one is ZB. B has the coordinates 4, 2 as we found out over here. So 11 into 4 plus 8 into 2, which is 44 plus 16, which comes out as 60. So ZB becomes 60 and ZC. ZC becomes, now C has the coordinates 6, 0. Sorry, C has the coordinates 4, 0. So as a result, in this case, C will become 11 into 4 plus 8 into 0, which is 44 as the answer. Now our question is to maximize the objective function. Maximize means to find the maximum value. So comparing all these 4 values of Z, we find that the maximum value of Z occurs at B, which is 60, and that maximum value is 60. So therefore, Z, we conclude that Z has maximum value. Therefore, Z has maximum value (60) when at B, actually, when x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 2. At this particular point, 4, 2, Z has the maximum value. So you can pause the video, study the sum, and then go on to the next sum. The second question is maximize Z is equal to 4x plus 6y subject to 3x plus 2y less than or equal to 12 and x plus y greater than or equal to 4, and the non-negativity constraints are given over here. So our objective function is to maximize this particular equation. These are our constraints, linear inequalities. We are going to convert them into equations first. So converting these into equations, we are going to write over here 3x plus 2y is equal to 12. To find the 2 points, we put y as 0. When y is 0, we get x as 4. So 4, 0 is one of the points on this line. Similarly, we put x as 0. When x is 0, we get y as 6. So thus we have these points. The sign given for this particular equation, inequation, is less than or equal to, so the region is the origin sign. The second equation is x plus y is equal to 4. Thus, we find the points on the x and y axis through which the line passes, and the sign given here is greater than or equal to, and therefore the region is the non-origin side. Then we can move on to plotting the graph of the question. So in this case, we have to plot until 6 on the y-axis and 4 on the x-axis. Scale will be 1 centimeter is equal to 1 unit on both axes. Then our points which are there, the first set of points are 4, 0 and 0, 6. So we have 4, 0 over here and 0, 6 over here, and the line passes through both these points. The equation of the first line is 3x plus 2y is equal to 12. Let me write it over here. 3x plus 2y is equal to 12. Then what about the second line? Second line, x plus y is equal to 4. So 4, 0 is one of the points on the line, and 0, 4. For the second line, we had found out these points, and therefore the graph is this way. The line is this way. And the equation of the line is x plus y is equal to 4. You can write it over here. Now what about the feasible region? For the feasible region, we have the first line 3x plus 2y is equal to 12, line, the region lying on the origin side. And for the second line, x plus y is equal to 4 on the non-origin side. That means for this particular line, the region lies on the origin side, this side of the line. And for the second line, this line, x plus y is equal to 4, the solution lies on the non-origin side. That means this is our feasible region that is there. So we'll just shade it out first. This becomes our feasible region. Now we can name this region. So we say that now in this case, origin is not a part of the region that is there, and therefore we can simply name it as ABC. A, this is B, and this is C. So A, B, C, A, a bounded region, is the feasible region. Of course, which has been shaded. Now the corner points for this region are A, the vertices of the region are A having the coordinates, in this case A has the coordinate 0, 4, 0, 4, B which has the coordinate 0, 6, and C which has the coordinates 4, 0. So directly we have got our corner points. There is no solving to get any corner point over here. So A, B, C are our corner point. Now let us apply these corner points to the feasible, that is to the objective function. Now the objective function is z is equal to 4x plus 6y. Applying these values to the objective function, whichever values A, B and C to the objective function, we are going to get ZA is equal to 4 into 0 from here, 4 into 0 plus 6 into 4, which is 24. Similarly, ZB becomes 4 into 0 plus 6 into 6, which is 36, and ZC, which is 4 into 4 plus 6 into 0, which is 16. Now out of this we see that B has the maximum value. B has the maximum value. So therefore we conclude that Z when at Z is equal to B is maximum. So Z has maximum value 36 at B, point B, which has the coordinates 0, 6. So we can write this conclusion this way also. So thus we conclude our sum. Let me show you the third question also. The question is maximize Z is equal to 7x plus 11y subject to 3x plus 5y less than or equal to 26, 5x plus 3y less than or equal to 30, and the non-negativity constraints which are there. So in this case, the equations are from these inequalities. The equations are 3x plus 5y is equal to 26 and 5x plus 3y is equal to 30. Now here, when we put y as 0, see when we put y as 0, x comes out to be 26 upon 3. 26 upon 3. One way of doing it is keeping this x as 26 upon 3 and y as 0 and arriving at the point. See, 26 up, this can be done this way, that is 26 upon 3 can be written as a mixed fraction. Mixed fraction means we know that 3 8s are 24 and 24 plus 2 is 26. So 2 comes as a reminder. So 8, 2 upon 3 becomes a mixed fraction. That means this particular point 26 upon 3 lies between 8 and 9 on the graph. On the x-axis, the point lies between 8 and 9. So that is what we will be considering over here. Then similarly, with respect to the other point, when we put x as 0, again y comes out as 26 upon 5. Y comes out as 26 upon 5. So again, let us see 26 upon 5 now. Converting this into a mixed fraction in 5 tables, we get 5 5s are 25 plus 1 is 26. So it becomes 5 1 upon 5. That means this particular point 26 upon 5 lies between 5 and 6 on the y-axis. So that is what we are going to consider here. So our points are this way. This is the easiest method. If you don't understand the method, then you can take any other value, any other convenient values of y or x which do not give fractional answers. You can take it that way also. Think about it. So here we have the sign as less than or equal to, that means the region is the origin sign. Then for the next one, when we put y as 0, x is coming as 30 upon 5, which is 6. And similarly, when x is 0, y comes out as 10. 30 upon 3, which is 10. The region in this case is again the sign is less than or equal to, so the region is again the origin sign. Then plotting the graph now. Again, the scale will be taking as 1 centimeter is equal to 1 unit on both the axes. So here we need quite a lot of points on both the axes actually. This way. Then in this case, the first point is 0, that is 26 upon 3, 0. As I told you, 26 upon 3 means the point lies between 8 and 9 on the x-axis. So we take the point between 8 and 9 on the x-axis over here, 2/3 of the distance over here. So this is 26 upon 3, 0. The other point which you have to plot on the y-axis is 0 and 26 upon 5. As you can see, 26 upon 5 comes between 5 and 6. We convert it to 5, 1 upon 5. So between 5 and 6 it is coming somewhere over here. So we plot that point over here. And thus let us draw the line now. The equation is 3x plus 5y is equal to 26. In your notebook, you can write it properly on the line itself. Okay, here there are certain limitations. Now the next set of points, 6, 0 and 0, 10. So 6, 0 and 0, 10. And the equation of the line, which is 5x plus 3y is equal to 30. Let me write it over here. Now, if you remember, both of these lines have their solution set on the origin side of those lines. And therefore, the common region is this region for both these lines. The common region is this region. So, as a result, our feasible region is this one, which we are shading in the graph. And as usual, let us name our feasible region as OA, BC. OA, BC, O is our feasible region. So let us write that fact down. OA, BC, O is the feasible region. Now the vertices, that is the corner points of the feasible region. The vertices are O having the coordinates 0, 0 because it is the origin. A is lying on the y-axis at between 5 and 6. That is exactly, the point is actually 26 upon 5. So A is 26, 0 and 26 upon 5. And similarly, B is something which we have to find out. C has the coordinates 6, 0 because C is lying on the x-axis and therefore 6, 0. Now, as usual, like we did in the first sum, we are going to find B by considering that B is the point of intersection of both the lines, both the given lines. So, B is the point of intersection. Of the lines, the first line, that is 3x plus 5y is equal to 3x plus 5y is equal to 26. And the other line, which is 5x plus 3y is equal to 30. Now, we can find the coordinates of B by solving both these equations simultaneously. So, as we see, the we can either do this way, that is multiply equation, we can equate the x coefficients or the y coefficients. Okay, or you can do it even by Cramer's rule, whichever method you find it comfortable, you can do it over there. So here I am going to multiply equation 1 by say 3 and 2 by 5. So this is say equation 1 and this is equation 2. So multiplying equation 1 by say 3 and equation 2 by 5, we are getting two more equations. That is, when we multiply equation 1 by 3, we get 9x plus 15y is equal to 78. 26 3s are 78. And the second equation, we multiply by 5 and therefore we get 25x plus 15y is equal to 150. This way. Then we subtract both the equations. Subtracting say 3, this equation 3 and this equation 4. So on subtracting 3 from 4, we are going to get this way, that is 25 minus 9 is going to give us 16. So 16x is equal to 15y minus 15y, 0. So y coordinate goes away. And 150 minus 78 gives us 72. That way. And therefore, x is equal to 72 upon 16. We see that 72 and 16 both are going in 8 table. That is 9 8s are 72 and 2 8s are 16. So 9 upon 2, which can also be written as 4.5 because it is convenient for us. Now let us find the y coordinate also. Thus we found the x coordinate of B. Now for the y coordinate, we substitute. So substituting, x is equal to 4.5 in any one of the equations, 1, 2, 3 or 4, any one of the convenient equations which are there. Say we substitute it in this equation. Okay, so in equation 2, we are going to get 5 into 4.5, 5 into 4.5 plus 3y is equal to 30, and solving it further, we get 22.5 plus 3y is equal to 30, and therefore 3y is equal to 30 minus 22.5. Therefore, we have 3y is equal to 7.5, and therefore y becomes 7.5 divided by 3, which is 2.5. 75 divided by 3 is 25. Therefore, y is equal to 2.5. We divide 7.5 by 3. So, therefore, we got the b coordinates of b. So, b comes out as the x coordinate is 4.5 and the y coordinate is 2.5. So, thus we find the coordinates of b, point B which is there in the graph. We did not know about b. So, we found the coordinates of b here. Now, let us put all this in the objective function. Now, the objective function is it is given as z is equal to 7x plus 11y. And therefore, we have z0 is equal to 7 into 0 plus 11 into 0, which is coming as 0. And similarly, we have za is equal to. Now, what about a? The coordinates of a in this case, the coordinates of a are 0, 0, 26 upon 5. And therefore, we put that over here. So, 7 into 0 plus 11 into 26 upon 5, which comes out in this case as 0 plus 11 into 26 upon 5, which is 286 upon 5. Now, we cancel out. We divide everything by 5 table, and thus we get over here 5 5s are 25, 7 5s are 35 plus 1 36, so 0.2. So, we get over here 57.2. That is ZE. Then ZB, we know the coordinates of B as 4.5 and 2.5. So, 7 into 4.5 plus 11 into 2.5. Now, this is going to come out this way. That is 7 into 4.5. 7 5s are 35, 5 carry 3, 7 4s are 28 plus 3, 31. So, 31.5 plus 11 into 2.5, 11 5s are 55, 5 carry 5, 11 2s are 22 plus 5, 27. So, 31.5 plus 27.5, which comes out to be 59. So, ZB comes out to be 59. Then, in the next case, so we have got over here 57.2, this is 59. Then we also have ZC to consider, isn't it? ZC. Now, the coordinates of C are 6, 0, as you can see in the graph or from what we got the data over here. The coordinates of C are 6, 0. So, we put that 6, 0 in Z. Thus, we get 7 into 6 plus 11 into 0. So, 7 6 are 42. So, either way, the maximum value 59 is obtained at B. So, there that is the solution actually. So, therefore, we conclude that Z has maximum value 59 at B, which has the coordinates 4.5 and 2.5. So we have completed 3 sums of the exercise. Question 4, I leave it to you as assignment. Complete it and check whether you are understanding the concept of. We will continue from the 5th question onwards in the next lecture. Thank you so much for listening.